Hello, my name is Mesut.
Hello, and I'm Eylül.
We are from Turkey, Istanbul.
And we are both software test engineers from Turkey, Siemens Istanbul. And we are very excited to be in HUSTEF 2020.
We are going to talk about best practices for conducting an Agile test automation project.
And we hope we will meet you soon.
See you there. Bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, this is Eylül Akar. We are going to talk about best practices of a successful Agile test automation project. But I'd like to first mention that we are very happy to be in HUSTEF this year. And before diving into this session, let me talk about myself very briefly. I'm a software test engineer and I work for Siemens. I've been working for Siemens for nearly 3.5 years now. And I work in Turkey, Istanbul office. And in total, I have 10 years of experience in both software development and software testing. And currently, I participate in QA testing activities with my colleague Mesut.
Hi everyone, welcome to our session. This is Mesut and I'm from Turkey. As Eylül told, we are working together for Siemens Istanbul office. And as she told, we are absolutely glad to be here in this amazing conference, HUSTEF. And in this session, we are going to talk about some practices, best practices and lessons learned from our studies, our experiences. And we are very excited to share them. And you can find some contact information for us. And please do not hesitate to reach out to us for any questions or any recommendations, anything. Just feel free to contact us.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, we are going to talk about 4 pillars of a successful Agile project, test automation project. And here you see our agenda for this. And respectively, we are going to talk about all these very important 4 items. First, we are going to talk about how important it is to have a common QA mindset in our team in order to focus to our goal. And then we will talk about how to track our testing activities, by how to monitor them, and in order to watch our current progress and in order to decide what to do next. And then we are going to talk about how to ensure robustness in our test automation project, which is also very important, mostly in order to, we can say that, how to avoid maintenance efforts. And then finally, we will talk about how important it is to make this all happen, to have a good team spirit in our team. And before talking about them separately, again, we can think like, why should we pay attention to all of this? Actually, we shouldn't. We should pay attention to all of these items that we just mentioned before starting working, because we can say that if we ignore these, inevitably in the later stages of the project, most probably, if we do not have them in the earlier stages, but in the later stages, we will have technical depth very increased in our project, and of course, unfortunately, the team motivation will decrease in time. So let's start with QA mindset. So basically, as QA test engineers, what are we doing? We are trying to execute some tests, sometimes manually, or sometimes we implement these test cases and try to execute them automatically. And we are doing all of this according to the requirements that are given to us, right? Requirements that come from the customer side. And according to the features and requirements of the project, we try to test some functions of the project, and we try to find some bugs, right? And especially we try to find these bugs before the production environments, before at testing stages, at very early stages, in order to avoid escape bugs later. And what we do here is to try to test as an end user, right? And so after testing, we find some bugs, right? And we try to fix them. But sometimes, mostly, we again encounter some bugs that we tested early in our project. Even if the feature hasn't changed or our test code hasn't changed, we sometimes encounter the same bugs or different bugs again and again. How can this be happening, right? Actually, there's a reason for this. From the start, we should we should have a customer's perspective, so that knowing that the customer does not know all the things that we know, they do not have the knowledge that we have, and thus they may not have, for example, they may not have the same very advanced environments that we are doing our test in. And for example, maybe we are trying to use some parameters, for example, in a specific range of values, but maybe customer will try to use something else, right? Something that we hadn't used before, or something we didn't expect before. Actually, we should try to think that the customer will try to do always the unexpected thing. So if we focus on this from the beginning of the project, not in the later stages, what would I do if I was trying to do this? What would I do? What would I try to do if I was someone inexperienced? So if we try to have this mindset, if we try to think this way, it's more likely that we will catch escape bugs rather than the later stages of the project, in the early stages. So this means that we will save lots of times.
Yeah, after this great opening, we will go over monitoring activities as the second pillar. The first one was the looking to the product from the customer view, from the customer perspective, and the second one that we want to share as a fundamental issue for conducting a successful agile test automation project is the monitoring activities. Because monitoring activities enable us to make a current evaluation, to evaluate our current situation, and on the other hand, to be able to make a future projection or future estimation. I will illustrate this with a real life scenario. I mean, when we are driving from one place to another one with our vehicles, we have some monitoring panels in front of us, right? This is why cars or vehicles have some monitoring panels in front of us. For example, we can track the gas level in the tank, or we can track the internal temperature level, or the air pressure in the tires, everything, lots of metrics that we can track, and we can monitor the current situation of these metrics. Because otherwise, if we do not track them continuously, then we can find ourselves in some unexpected situations. For example, if we do not track the level of gas in the tank, then maybe finally or immediately we can find us in a situation that we run out of the gas immediately, suddenly. Because until that time, we did not take care of the level of the gas. And suddenly then we run out of the gas, and we did not take action item in time. We did not track the metric. We were not aware of that the level of gas was decreasing and decreasing. We did not take care of that metric in time, and we did not get some or take some action items. So some undesired situations were inevitable for us. And on the other hand, we can make some future projection. For example, with the half of the gas in the tank, if we go for 1 kilometers or 100 kilometers, then we can estimate that we can go another 100 kilometer, right, with the rest, because it's just a linear projection. So we can make a future projection as well. This is the other advantage, the other aspect of the advantages. So we can apply, or we can embrace the same approach in our projects. For example, we can track the metrics in our project, and we can make some current evaluations. For example, how fast we are going. Or with a future projection, we can estimate that if we will be able to complete all the tasks, we will able to finish all the executions. So from these two perspectives, from one hand, we can do a current evaluation. On the other hand, we can do a future projection. From these two other perspectives, we can make use of monitoring activities. At this point, there is an important point, which is to be selective on the metrics, because we cannot cover all of them, right? For example, on this slide, it is really very hard to read all of them, right? Because we put this slide, because trying to cover all of them does not make sense. We should select some of them. which serves to our goals in the best way, then we can or we should go with them only, not all of them. So at this moment, what we should do is to select a subset which are serving to our goals in the best way, then trying to continuously track those selected subsets, because there are a lot of, maybe 100 of, or maybe 1,000 of metrics in our environments. So it is not possible to cover all of them, but just a subset of them. And after we select some of them to track, how can we do that? How can we continuously track those metrics? I think it is the best way is not trying to do that manually, right? We can do that automatically with some code development. For example, just as an example, I put an example in the slide, and we can see that from Jira APIs, we can get response to our queries, and from the response, we can parse the fields that we are aiming to track. I mean, for example, on this example, we are getting the issues, the responses across issues, and then from the response, I parse the creation time of the issue and then resolution time of the issue, and getting the time in between two of them by subtracting one from the other one, I can reach to the resolution time, right? The interval between creation time and the resolution time. The interval gives me the resolution duration. So I can track the resolution duration across different issues. For example, I can see if a long time is required for a kind of issues and the shorter time is required for another kind of issues, then I can see all of them. I can see really a monitoring activity, and I can get some insights about our products or our procedures. And this is a way to do that automatically. And okay, this is an example for Jira API, but for most of the platforms or most of the tools, there are some open APIs, and the automation is possible or for most of the tools or platforms. And finally, after automating them, the final step is to transform them into some monitoring and visualization graphs. For example, on this one, we can immediately see if some values are going down or they are increasing, because otherwise it is not easy to immediately see what is going on. But if we transform them on some screens, then it is in front of us and we can immediately see. And if some limit is violated, then maybe some alarms can raised, or we can immediately see in some different colors. The graphs are in front of us, and with the visualization, it is much more simpler to track what's going on. And finally, for the monitoring activities, it's a sample application that we performed in our project. We monitored the distribution of bugs across different parameters. For example, the first distribution is across their status, if they are in open status or validated or in progress. The other distributions are bugs across different features or bugs across different testing types. We can get lots of insights from these graphs, from these pie charts. For example, across why did we track the distribution of the bug across testing type? I will give you an example. For example, if lots of the bugs are coming from documentation testing type, then we can guess that maybe the documentation was not performed in that sprint. If most of the percentage of the bugs are coming from documentation bug instead of functional ones or performance tests, then we can concentrate on the documentation and question the development teams if they prepared the documentation in the proper way. This is just a sample application. I wanted to share you just to visualize how it is looking like in our projects. In this way, we can make lots of monitoring activities, and we can collect lots of insights related to our products and our processes.
Yeah, Mesut told us about monitoring our testing activities. And now our third another important item is how to ensure our robustness in our test automation framework. Actually, when we say robustness, we can mean a lot of different methods and a lot of maybe good improvements in our projects. Many can think like this, but actually I can say that from our perspective, robustness of a test automation framework is I can say, avoiding the test smells in a project as much as we can. So what are these test smells, right? Test smells, actually there are many categories of test smells, but I will just we'd like to mention just some of the very important ones in here. For example, let's give some examples. These are some unwanted, unexpected, maybe expected, but definitely unwanted situations in our project. For example, in the upper table, you're seeing some test results. Some of them are pass, some of them are fail. Actually, for example, if we have a situation like this, there is a feature and we are testing it and the test result is pass, but the feature is actually failing. So this means that actually in our project, in this feature, we have a silent error, which can be very dangerous, as you can think. Because if we do not catch that bug in time in later stages, of course, definitely that bug will come up again and again. And most probably, if we do not catch it at all, the customer will catch it. We will encounter that in production environment. So this is something we do not want. And again, after working on that bug and feature a lot, and then we will have to work on that again and again. This is something we do not want. This means a waste of time. And then there's another situation, which is, for example, we are testing the feature, another feature, and the feature is actually passing. The feature works as expected, but our test result is failed. So this means that actually there's no problem. The feature is working as expected, but our test result is failed. So this means a false alarm. This is not a real bug actually. But this means that if we see a bug, we will try to understand what causes that bug, right? We have to fix it in order to deploy it, in order to show our project to our customer. So we have to work on that feature and that code and that test, whatever it is, again and again and again. And this means, again, a lot of waste of time, and it can lead to it can again increase our maintenance efforts, and it means loss of resource, loss of time, and yeah. So we can give another example. There can be also another type of test smell is flaky tests, which means that most probably because mostly this occurs in mostly some projects that have mainly, I can say, that contains the projects that contain some very lots of services that work asynchronously with each other. So this can mean that our tests, the same test code, and even though the feature is the same, sometimes it can pass and sometimes it can fail. And again, it means that if we ignore this failure once, for example, the test passes once, and then sometimes once it fails, and then again 10 times it passes, and then once it fails. So we can think like, for example, oh, okay, it's something just casually. It was something temporary. So we can ignore that. But of course, most probably we will encounter that bug again later in these stages. And this means that we will try to analyze it. We'll have to spend more time on it again and again. And this again means loss of time. Yeah, and in order to avoid test smells, basically we should try to focus on how to make our code more efficient, how to make our code more maintainable in the later stages of the project. We should try to make it more understandable, more in a way that some other people that are new to project can understand it and can develop it in a way that is better and better. So this means that actually we have to build very strong quality gates. So this means that we should try to do our code reviews. We should not just commit the first code to our repo, and at least one person should review it. And before that stage, actually, we should design our code in a way that we can be very efficient, and so that we can later avoid the application of codes, flaky tests, and other types of problems that can lead to loss of time and maintenance issues.
And we are left with the fourth pillar that we will share, which is the team spirit. I think it's again is of great importance because without a good communication or collaboration in the team, we cannot work efficiently, right? So it can be maintained with a good team spirit. So we can work efficiently with a good communication and with a good collaboration between all parties in the team. I mean, sometimes we have some separated QA teams, and if we do not have a good communication between the separated QA team and the development teams, then sometimes some redundant work is performed and executed. And nowadays, the time is very important, and because everyone is in a rush, and there's a great rivalry in the software market, right? Everyone is trying to be the first in the market, so everyone is in a great rush, and we have some limited times. For example, before going to production, we have a limited testing time. So we cannot execute all the test cases. Infinite testing is not possible. So we should work efficiently, and we should share the tasks and share the works between the teams and between all the members in the team. So if you do not do, if you do not try to do that, then maybe a test case is executed in the unit test level. Then we will again try to execute it in the upper levels. So it is not a best practice. So it is an anti-pattern. It means that we are not following the test pyramid, and we are not doing a prioritization maybe. So development team is performing something, and they are not letting QA teams know that change, and it results in some inefficiencies, because normally in the agile approaches or agile methodologies, QA teams do not have to wait development teams to complete their product. After the design is completed, then the development can start, and in the meantime, the QA activities can start, right? But if they do not have a good communication channel between them, if they are not getting all the proper information regarding the features or regarding the attributes of the product, then they cannot start to their work. So as I told, the information should be shared properly within the team, and there should be a good communication and collaboration between the whole team, between the whole parties, between the all parties, to maintain a efficient and a good efficient way of working and a good team spirit. Because last but not least, quality is not something that is performed by someone, but it is something that should be lived by everyone with a holistic approach, because we cannot perform this, or we cannot achieve this with hero driven activities. It cannot be done by individuals, but it can be done by the whole team with a holistic approach. So that was the end of our 4 pillars to conduct the successfully conducting an agile test automation project. Those were the quality mindset, the monitoring activities, to achieve a robust test automation framework, and maintaining a team spirit. Those were closely related to the looking to the product from the customer perspective, and monitoring activities, which enables us to make a current evaluation and a feature projection. And a robust framework saves us from some maintenance efforts and failing test analysis. And finally, with a good team spirit, we can achieve a holistic approach. Those pillars were the main motivation of this talk, and I hope you enjoyed the talk. And as we told in the beginning, if you have any questions, we will be more than glad to answer them. Thanks for listening, and see you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.